I think he did pretty well at a Texas twang for the first time. So I can tell you, I am not from New York. So just fair warning, I can't talk that fast if I tried. I am from Lolita, Texas. It's a town of 600 people, well, 599 because I'm not there anymore. And the women that I knew were either teachers, they were clerks, or bank tellers in the local town about 30 miles away. So I grew up without a lot of role models, without a lot of people to look up to teach me courage, to teach me things about standing up for myself and speaking up. So today I want to tell you a story about how I was able to turn rejection into opportunity and give you some ideas about how you may look at rejection a little differently. So one thing, now my father worked for the post office, my mom was the clerk at the local railroad, but one thing they instilled in all 6 of us was that we were to get a college education. And I'm really proud of myself and my siblings to say that among 6 of us, we have 6 undergraduate degrees, 2 masters, and 1 PhD in our family. And that was not the norm in Lolita, Texas. It is the answer to a Trivial Pursuit question, though, if you ever get it. So I finished my master's degree, and I went to work in technology transfer. Okay, I'm obviously pressing the wrong button here. There we go. Our job was to promote the innovations that were developed within the Texas Engineering Experiment Station at Texas A&M University system. We were either to license these out into other corporations, or we were to spin them off into new entities, new businesses. Every single day, I was surrounded by innovation and new ideas. But I had met my husband in Washington, D.C., and he had taken a job in Houston. So we were setting out to build our new life together in Houston. But I didn't know anyone in that area. I didn't know a soul in that city, in a city of millions, not hundreds. So I set out to figure out what I was going to do. Well, I'd met some venture capitalists when I was working in technology transfer, and I thought, what a perfect way to combine my interest in go-to-market strategies and growth strategies with my business and financial background. So I did some research, and I found 6 venture capital firms in Houston, Texas. And I thought, that's what I wanted to do. That's what I was going to do to demonstrate my new career and to set forth on getting my new career. So I researched them. I delicately and purposefully put these cover letters together in my resume, printed them on nice crisp paper, mailed them off, and waited. And then the next thing that came was none other than rejection. That's right. I got 5 rejection letters like this, almost within the week. But I was determined. I knew that I was going to find a job in Houston. I had to. That's where we were starting our new family. Wasn't quite the Brady Bunch. That's what I was from. But we were going to start this new beginning in Houston. So I was off to set this new career in motion. Well, I kept getting these letters, and they all said about the same thing. Christine, thank you very much for sending in your resume. Unfortunately, we don't have a position available for you at this time, but we're going to keep that resume on file. We all know what file they mean. It's the round file sitting in the corner where they put my resume and everybody else's. When you get that letter, you know exactly where your resume is at that point in time. But I was determined. Now, my life changed one day. It was a Friday, and I got another call. They said, Christine, Mary Bass with Triad Ventures is on the phone. I ran back to my office and I picked up that phone and I said, hello? I mean, surely Mary Bass was calling to give me some good news, right? I mean, who would call to reject you? I was filled with hope. Now I just did it, and now I can't do it again. So I picked up the phone, and I was met with the biggest Southern drawl I had ever heard. Christine, this is Mary Bass from Triad Ventures. If you ever meet her, that's how she talks. Love her. I'm calling, I got your resume, and I just wanted to call to tell you that we just don't have any positions available for you at this moment. But thank you very much for applying. And then she said, we'll keep your resume on file. My hopes were dashed. But it was at that point in time, I thought, I have a choice to make. I have a choice. I could either politely thank her for her rejection call, or I could seize this moment. I could turn it into something else and make something out of this. I could turn this rejection into opportunity if I tried, if I took a chance. So I said, Miss Bass, if you have just one more moment, I'd like to tell you a bit about myself, my background, and why I'm moving to Houston. And I held my breath. I was like, oh, please let her say yes. Please let her say yes. Say something. Don't hang up. And she didn't. She said, well, certainly, Christine. You just go ahead. Tell me about yourself. And I jumped through that window of opportunity. I started telling Mary about how I had graduated from Texas A&M with an MBA, and that I'd met my husband just a few months earlier. My father had just passed away, so my husband-to-be had decided to take the only commercial real estate job that was available in the 80s in Houston, and that I was looking for a job in Houston too, so that I could stay close to my mother and help her out since we had just lost our dad. But that if she knew someone in her network that might be able to use someone like me with my skills, my interests, my expertise, that perhaps she might share their name and contact information with me. Perhaps she knew someone. And again, I just waited. I'm like, oh, please let her know somebody. And she went, well, Christine, I was just talking to someone at Grant Thornton the other day, and now that I think about it, you'd be perfect. They're looking for a senior consultant in their consulting division. Let me give you his name and his telephone number, and you tell him Mary Bass said to call. I quickly wrote down all the information she gave me about this contact. And I got her information. I thanked her profusely. I hung up that phone, and I picked it right back up, and I called the person at Grant Thornton. And I said, I'm Christine, and Mary Bass said to call. You know, thank goodness they didn't have video calls at that time, because I was like, please let him talk to me, please let him talk to me. So I told him about my background and my resume and my interests in working in technology transfer and what I was moving to Houston. I didn't tell him all the details about my dad dying or anything, but I told him why I was moving. And he said, listened very politely, and he said, send me that resume. I said, okay, yes, sir, I certainly will. And I hung up the phone. And I waited about 2 minutes, about the same length of time that Mary Bass had given me. 2 minutes. And my phone rang again. And it was that person from Grant Thornton telling me, you know, Christine, I went in and told my boss about our conversation. And he said I needed to come back here and call you and get you in for an interview as soon as possible. This Friday was my lucky day. What started out as total rejection was turning into something totally different. Turns out his boss was also an Aggie, a graduate of Texas A&M University. And if you don't know anything about Aggies, let me tell you this. We have one of the strongest networks in the country, if not the world. Aggies help each other. He was an Aggie. So when he heard about me, get her in here. So I quickly said, I'm going to be in Houston on Tuesday. I actually had a meeting with NASA, so I can be there for an interview. Great. I hung up the phone. Boy, this Friday was changing for me. There was more hope than where it started. So I went and interviewed, and the very next day, they offered me the job. I went from Friday, 5 rejection letters, 1 rejection phone call, to an interview and a new job from Friday to Wednesday. That fast it turned. Now, what did I learn from that? I learned about rejection. Rejection is how you view it. So you have the opportunity to look at rejection any way you choose. You can look at rejection as, thank you very much for keeping my resume in the round file. Thank you very much for rejecting my ideas, for showing me that I have losses. Or you can see it as an opportunity. You can see it for what it is. So when you view whatever happens, you can see that glass as half full or half empty. Now, I believe that the events that happen to us, the people that come in and out of our lives, happen for a reason. Sometimes we don't know the reason right off. But when you think about it, they come into our lives perhaps to teach us things, to expand our horizons, to give us additional knowledge, to give us strength. Sometimes it's just to help us power through, and sometimes what looks and sounds like rejection is really that hand that's extended to us just when we need it. But you have to be able to grab it. So how do you grab that? So you can either take that and grab that opportunity, or you can just look at the back side of that door when it slams in your face. It's all in your perspective. It's all in your perspective. So how do you do this? The first thing is mindset. You manifest what you think about. If you think about things as negative, that's what's going to happen. But when you think about things from a positive perspective and you look at that glass and it's half full and you see opportunity, it not only changes your mindset and what's up here, but it is proven that it changes your body chemistry. Wallowing in self-pity changes your body chemistry just as well. You have that choice of what you think about and how you think about them. You can think about wallowing and the rejection and looking at that door that's been slammed. Or you can say, this is an opportunity that I can grab. It's your choice. You also can channel the energy of that rejection into something that's positive. You can be the cheerleader within your organization. And when you do that, when you fire up their competitive drive within you and everyone else, it changes the energy level. and it can physically change people. You can get them refocused on what's next, not just focus on the loss, not just focused on not getting that new project or landing that big new client, not focused on the loss, but focused on what's next. You can also look at them as learning opportunities. Our world is filled with learning opportunities. It is one big learning opportunity, actually. All we have to do is get quiet and reflect on those lessons it's trying to teach us. But how often are we quiet? How often do we give ourselves to reflect and to really think about what you've learned? Now, like the word that starts with S that they told me I shouldn't use, R happens. Rejection happens. It happens to every single one of us. You know what? Get over it. Get on with it. You can extend the hand to other people, and you can decide how that happens. One thing I've done in my own firm is that when I'm interviewing people for an opportunity with my firm, I always offer the candidates that didn't get the job some feedback if they want to take it. Now, it's surprising to me that less than 10% take me up on my offer. You can either look for that opportunity, look for that door that's open and take those, or you can let that door just slam shut and never look up. Sometimes that opportunity is standing right in front of us. It's just waiting for us to look up, look right to left, turn around, refocus, get that drive back. You have to go for it. No one else is going to reach for the stars if you don't. No one's going to do it for you. No one's picking up your arm and saying, here, let me help you. Hold your arm up. You have to pull that drive from within. 2 minutes is all it took for Mary Bass to give me an opportunity. I would encourage you to think about it the next time that you're met with rejection, that all it takes is 2 minutes. 2 minutes of someone else's time, or 2 minutes for you to pay it forward, for you to offer someone else an opportunity and a helping hand to help them see what's next. Now, when I moved to Houston, I invited Mary to lunch, and we had a delightful lunch. I thanked her profusely for those extra 2 minutes that she gave me and the opportunity that it presented and how it set my career path on a road that I'd never even dreamed of. Never could I imagine being from Lolita, Texas, where my life has taken me. Now, Mary, we lost touch, as so many people do. And fast forward, about 15 years later, my husband and I joined a golf club. The very first event, we were introducing ourselves to other new members, and we met this couple, Mike and Mary Bass. Yes, the Mary Bass. I couldn't believe that our paths had crossed again. Now, to this day, Mary Bass is one of my golfing buddies. She is still that Southern belle. She still talks like that. It's delightful. She is from Alabama, by the way. She's an amazing connector of people. She's a highly successful businesswoman. And 28 years later, I am really proud to call Mary Bass my friend. Rejection isn't easy. It hurts. There's anger, there's disappointment, there's sadness. There's things that really drain us, brings us down. But I'll never forget those 2 minutes that Mary gave me. And I'll also never forget that I managed the courage to see through that rejection into another opportunity that was waiting. That I asked for that opportunity, and then I was able to power through. And that's what I want for you. Next time you're met with rejection, next time your idea isn't embraced wholeheartedly, or you don't get that promotion that you deserve, or you lose that next proposal, or you lose this client, whatever happens where you're met with rejection, remember, you can power through. Thank you.